Why am I not engaging as much with the nonsensical morons that have been stalking me, harassing me, and attempting to intimidate me? Well, to be quite honest, I don't really have time. The truth of the matter is, you know, the young lady that I met in the hospital, the nurse, I really like her. Okay, I really like her, and I really admire her. Okay, and I think that her and I would be excellent friends. And I think that unfortunately, a lot of my online presence probably scared her. Not necessarily that she's afraid of me, but she seems like a very private person, wouldn't want that out there. Okay, that's why I haven't given up her name. And well, I wouldn't have done that anyway after the whole situation with my former friend. After all, everybody knows that if somebody's name is public, that gives people the right to harass, intimidate, and terrorize them because they have a public name. So if you have a LinkedIn account or something like that, apparently that gives these people the unfettered right to completely attempt to destroy your life. That seems to be what they're saying. So I was accused by these people of tricking people into fighting my fights for me. I don't need people to fight my fights for me. This has been accused. I've been accused of this in the past. I'm not an easily intimidated person. And that's one of the things they've never been able to use against me. But the more so, let me get back to the young lady I met at the hospital. If she started talking to me and she said, James, get rid of everything that you have online, I'd get rid of it in 2 seconds. 2 seconds, if it even took that long. And the reason why is none of this is important to me. Okay? The internet has never been important to me. So the thing is, how did I get started on the internet? When I first started, my first social media account was a LinkedIn account. And the reason I had a LinkedIn account was I started my job at Pendle Mental Health, okay, which was people know that I worked there at this point because it's public knowledge. But so I started my job there and I was encouraged. I got an email to invite me to join LinkedIn by a therapist that worked there, a friend of mine that was a therapist. She wanted to link in with me on LinkedIn. In her mind, this would help promote me and help me become more active in the job market, and it would help her become more active in the job market because I have an extensive job history not related to mental health. But that's how LinkedIn works. So I'm on LinkedIn, and how did I get started on Facebook? Well, I've talked about this. There was a young lady by the name of Maria Konovalenko, who's a gerontologist. She's a biogerontologist. At the time, she was going to school at the Buck Institute, and I believe had just started her professorship. And we were suggested to connect because we were both transhumanists. And I connected with her, and when I saw what she was doing, because she was doing a lot of stuff, she was active in politics, active in science, and I asked her, I said, how can I help you make what you do a reality? And she said, make a Facebook account. Well, she said, get on Facebook and promote me. I didn't have a Facebook account. So that's when I started my first Facebook account. I believe it was in like 2000, I want to say 2013. And the internet to me has always been predominantly for research and predominantly for promoting ideas that I find interesting. People can see that on my community tab. The majority of things I promote on my community tab are other people's channels, other people's ideas, and other people's talents because I want to help other people get noticed. I'm not a very how can I put this? I don't promote myself. I probably don't promote myself as much as I should, but I don't promote myself as much as other people do. I try to promote people I like, people I admire, people that interest me. I try to promote their ideas. Okay. So you'll notice that's in my community tab a lot. That was a lot of what my use of social media was for. This harassment that I've received, I mean, when it bleeds into physical life, when people are coming over my apartment, slashing my tires, things like that, yes, that's annoying and ridiculous. But the point is, it's not, I don't have time for this crap anymore. So when people say I'm trying to trick people into fighting my fights for me, one of the things that was funny is Adonis Paul pointed out that it was him that created a fake Donovan Schultes account because, like he said, notice the voice. And he's right, it was him. He didn't say it was him, but he told me to get a look. And what's funny is, like, honestly, I make comments exactly like what, to be quite honest, I make like just as jokes. I'll make racially oriented jokes like Adonis obviously did in the fake Donovan Schultes account with he was making jokes about Donovan, well, not jokes, he was misrepresenting himself as Donovan and claiming to be a stereotypical Amerindian or indigenous American when Donovan is clearly not. He is not addicted to the firewater, as Adonis was claiming, and I don't think he wears muckalucks, although you might. I know in Santa Fe, they do have venomous snakes because I've been out all over the Southwest. Muckalucks actually are pretty decent things. They help protect you from from snake bites. In Arizona, they have coral snakes. They used to call them cigarette snakes in Vietnam because by the time you get done smoking a cigarette, you'll be dead from a bite from a coral snake. Although I didn't see one. I only saw rattlesnakes out in Arizona when I was in Arizona, when I was in the woods and whatnot. But the point is, Donovan's not fighting my fights for me. You people harass the hell out of him. You misrepresent him. You do the same things to him that you do to me. The only thing that gets to me is the way that these people, they treat Mary, Adrasdia. I don't care for the way that they treat Mary because it is absolutely insane that these people bully such a defenseless woman. It is absolutely disgusting, truly disgusting. Okay, and this is what's so hilarious about it. Okay, so they claim that everything with me revolves around my former friend, and I was allegedly stalking and harassing my former friend. Okay, number one, I wasn't. I was highly concerned about somebody due to the fact that they told me that they had autism and then they abruptly stopped talking to me and then I'm getting death threats regarding that person. And people might not understand this. I genuinely cared about her. I really did. And I think in some ways she genuinely cared about me. If you look at the one live stream she took down, which you can't look at now, she broke down because she was reading the things that I wrote her years back. And it made her think she recognized, she made a big mistake. But the thing is, she keeps coming back for more. Okay, she wants to harass me more and more and more and bait me more and more and more. Well, I don't care about her anymore if that's the way she wants to be. When she broke down on the live stream and people told me that, it made me realize, maybe she did care. Well, she did care about me. I know she did. But the fact of the matter is, that person is no longer, that person is not at the surface of that person. But the thing was, people like the Lacey Fletcher case, when I did the report on the Lacey Fletcher case, when I did the videos on Lacey Fletcher, when my former friend told me she had autism, I worked in mental health. I know what autism is, and I know what what severe autism can do. And I know that my former friend had stated that her socialization skills were not quite, in person, they were not quite equal to what they were online. I didn't know what that meant. Okay, I didn't know what she meant by that. So for all I knew, she could have. Now I think she lied about having autism. I don't think she told me the truth. I think she was lying. I think in a way she was trolling me from the beginning. Which is sad. And I think she started trolling me and then she realized that she liked me and then this nonsense ensued later. But the thing was, essentially, I didn't want her to end up like Lacey Fletcher. I didn't want her to end up in a catatonic state. I didn't want her ending up like that. That was why I was so concerned about her, because I didn't know what was going on her end. But I did know there were people telling me about her whereabouts that seemed to be following her around, that were probably just stalking her, and again projecting that I was stalking her when I wasn't, because I didn't know anything about her life. If I was stalking her, I would have known something about her. I'd left her alone. I didn't go on social media to do anything until after I hired her to teach me a math class. But I was constantly being harassed and threatened by people that seemed to know her and know her whereabouts, which was terrifying to me because I didn't know what these people may or may not have been doing to her to keep her from talking to me. Okay? That's the truth. And people can say that that isn't the truth or whatever as much as they want. That's the truth. Okay? I was highly concerned about her. I don't care a damn about her now. But the thing is, like I said, the nurse that I met in the hospital, she is a very sweet girl. I admire her greatly. And this is the thing that other people don't understand. Okay. My former friend, people like to claim all this nonsensical BS about her and I. First and foremost, she and I were friends. I truly admired her intellectual capacity, her IQ, the fact that she seemed to care about me as much as she did, okay, and the fact that she was and is, although I don't know where it went, or she's not expressing it, but the fact that she is a highly intelligent, highly academically successful person. I genuinely I still admire that about her. Her personality sucks, but I admire the fact that she is so brilliant. Now, the thing is, why don't I give a crap about you people? Okay, well, the reason why is because, the young lady I met in the hospital, who you don't know the name of, thank goodness, she is not only, again, people can say whatever they want to say. I greatly admire her intelligence. I greatly admire her academic achievement to achieve what she achieved. And I admire her desire to help other people. She is a very admirable person, and she is somebody that I would like in my life as my friend. That's why I don't have time for you people. Because the more time I spend bothering with a bunch of psychotics online, the more she's going to think negative things about me. And there's nothing I can do to take back the negative stuff that's already out there. But as I said, there's a lot I can do. Well, I can if she does actually see me and say, James, take it all down. It's all coming down. I just can't take down what other people put out there. But like I said, I admire this young lady very much. She is somebody I would love to have in my life as my friend. Okay? And that's that. But people can say whatever they want to say. They can say I'm a dirty pervert and all this other stuff. I think it's funny. It started out that I was supposedly a pedophile, which I'm not. And then it started out that I was an ebophile, which isn't even a thing. And then it turned into I'm a pervert because I like young women in their early 20s. That's it now. I'm a pervert because I like young women in their early 20s. There's nothing perverted about that. In fact, the fact of the matter is, and I'm going to leave a link in the description, most men, when they can say things privately, when they're polled and psychological research, do prefer women in their late teens and early 20s. Now, I would never do anything with a young lady in her late teens because unfortunately, they're not mature enough, I don't think. They haven't experienced enough life. But the other thing that's funny about that, with the ebophilia, like I've stated, the problem with ebophilia is that it isn't a thing. The reason it's not a thing is because it states that somebody that's attracted to post-pubescent women, they're biologically adults at that point, is somehow an ebophile. It's pathologizing everyday normal behavior for men. Like it's another way to pathologize masculinity. It's the pathologization of masculinity. It's trying to subvert men. It's trying to punish men for being men, essentially. So the thing is, people will go, oh, well, If you say that a 16-year-old's attractive, you're a pervert. Look, the fact of the matter is, as I stated, when somebody can say things privately, they will say they prefer women in their late teens or early 20s. As I've stated on a number of occasions, I would never date a young lady in her teens because she hasn't experienced enough life yet. I prefer women that are in their early 20s to mid 20s, usually early 20s, because their bodies haven't broken down from the abuses that most women put their bodies through with drugs and alcohol and cigarettes, etc. So I prefer women in their early 20s. I was with a woman into her late 30s. I met her in her mid 20s, and I was with her until her late 30s. Okay. And I still talk to that woman quite a bit. Okay. But the thing is, it's not like I'm some kind of pervert. The fact is that this is, again, the pathologizing of masculinity by people that want to pathologize being a man. Okay, there's nothing necessarily wrong. And then people go, well, that's below consensual age. The consensual age in Pennsylvania is 16. Now, again, I would never date a 16-year-old. Okay, but the fact is that's the consensual age. The problem is people will say, like I've said, I don't think that a girl in her teenage years, a 16-year-old girl, has lived enough life to be preferable to me. But then people will say, oh, well, these arbitrary, like this is the thing. Consensual age is an age of consent based on arbitrary ages of post-pubescent women, okay? In some states, it's 16. In some states, it's lower. In some states, it's higher. In some countries, it's lower. In some countries, it's higher, okay? The point is biologically these women are adults, and people might say, oh, well, they'll make poor choices. I wouldn't necessarily say a 16-year-old would make a poor reproductive choice based on her intelligence, but I do think perhaps based on her lack of life experience, she might make a poor reproductive choice. And that's what gets me, is the life experience. They lack any type of life experience. But I've also known women in their 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s that make very poor life choices. Okay? So it's not a maturity of the biological apparatus of the brain so much as it's a level of the maturity, the ability of the individual to live according to reality's terms. And that's the thing there, is a lot of people, I think, are so confused by the fact that, yes, a 16-year-old, a 17-year-old, a 20-year-old, a 21-year-old, they might make poor choices. But a 50-year-old's just as likely to make those poor choices. It's just a matter of the individual. And that's the thing. And it's a matter of individual preference. As I said, I would not prefer to date a 16-year-old. I would prefer a young lady aged 21, around 20, well, 18 to 25 probably would be the ideal age of a woman for me. And people might go, oh, you said 18, that's only 2 years older. That's only 2 years older than 16. I think in those 2 years, you gain a lot of experience due to the way our society is structured, okay? But of course, it's not a ton of life experience, but that 2-year period between 16 and 18. Young women, I do believe, gain a lot of life experience due to the structure of society. I've also noticed a lot of young women are more mature than young men, and this is partly biologically speaking. Young women's brains develop earlier than young men, but it's also to a degree societally based. I think young girls apply themselves more academically. They apply themselves more. When I used to teach martial arts, the young women, generally speaking, ended up being better martial artists because they would apply themselves more to proper technique and proper understanding and the proper just because they're better martial artists does not mean that they're better at fighting. because they're not as naturally athletically gifted, naturally athletically stronger, etc. But now I'm seeing more women applying themselves to physical culture and things like that, and they seem to be succeeding better than men because they apply themselves more. It's a societal thing as well as a biological thing. But the bottom line with this video is I don't have time for people I don't care about. I would rather spend my time worrying about people I do care about. And despite the fact that this channel means nothing to me, because it really doesn't mean a damned thing to me, okay, I would also like to point out that a lot of my regular subscribers that come here to watch my opinions on politics and watch my opinions on society and my opinions on philosophy and my opinions on occultism and my opinions on theology and religion and all these things, a lot of them have become very fed the fuck up with my interactions with you people, okay? So they're fed up with it, and I don't blame them. I'm fed up with it. So that's the thing, is I don't have the time for this. I think Donovan does quite a good job, in fact, probably a better job than I did at calling you people out on your bullshit. And I'm going to leave some links to some of Donovan's playlists, because I think it's important that people actually view his channel, see what he's saying, see what he's showing. And, I think Donovan deserves a lot of respect for the things that he does. And that's just it. And the thing is, like I said, hopefully that young lady, she'll decide to be my friend. That would be an excellent situation. I'm confident that, she probably will. And that's it for this video.